Hey everybody, Derek here to bring you another video for Fear the Walking Dead. And what I'm going to be doing in this video is giving my pros and cons, my overall thoughts on Fear the Walking Dead's first season. What I liked, what I thought could have been done a little better. Just in case you guys are not caught up with Fear the Walking Dead, if you have not seen the ending, this video will contain spoilers. Okay, so, one of the things that I think is really hard about viewing uh, Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead itself is that we're already so used to the way that The Walking Dead is that we don't want to necessarily compare the two. They are two different stories and two different worlds, and sometimes it's hard to do that, though. There were times when I would watch it and think, oh, well, come on, kill a couple more zombies, do things like this, and it was hard at times to separate them, but I'm really going to try in this video and in the notes that I've made to really focus on Fear the Walking Dead on its own without comparing it to Walking Dead and, just focusing on it as a zombie apocalypse type story. So that's what I'm going to try to do here. So some of the pros. Overall, I enjoyed the characters that they made. I think that overall they have established some very, very strong characters. And, the way that they developed them over the season, I think was very, very good. We had Madison, who I really think is starting to get very in touch with this new world. And we already see her as somebody who wants to have control over, a lot of things. And I think that that really does fit with the way that the world is changing. You also have Travis, who's, more of a person that is not adaptable necessarily yet. Somebody who does want to stick to the old world. Somebody who does want to, retain his old way of living, doesn't want to accept that the world's coming to an end. And really, by the end of the season, we see a man who's been broken down to his, very core after, the death of Liza and, of course, letting Adams go. And, I'm interested to see how that is going to change for him later on. And then, of course, you have Daniel Salazar, who, tortures Adams in the season 1, episode 5. I think they really did a good job of developing many of these characters, and I hope to see a little bit more development with others. I mean, we have Strand, who's just amazing in general. Alicia and Chris. I think that their time to be developed a little more will be in season 2. I think they did a good job with them. I think they have good potential with them, but we have to wait. And Nick, again, I think that there's more to come with his story, but that might not be till later. The family interaction, actually seeing these individuals with each other, understanding, excuse me, understanding them from a different perspective. I really enjoyed that family drama type element. I think that they really did a good job with that. You're seeing not just people in general changing, but you're seeing people that you love, people that you have known and cared about changing. With Ophelia finding out that her father really was somebody that tortured people during the war. You see Travis being shocked at the fact that Madison would allow this kind of conduct to happen. And then, of course, you see Madison noticing Travis changing, and especially after he beat up Adams, and again, whenever he gets to the point where he has to put Liza down because she's been bitten. I mean, I think that we are really going to see a different Travis, and I think that continued family, aspect of it, and actually watching these people watch as their family members change, I think is going to be even better in season 2. But I think they overall did a good job of that in season 1 when it finally got to that time. So I think they did pretty good on that. I think it's good as an arc. It's one of those series that I would say, if you watch the episodes back to back to back, it actually is a pretty good story. I would say the same thing about season 2 of Walking Dead. I tell people all the time, if they never watched the show and they're just catching up on it, I tell them, just push through season 2. because I feel like there were some episodes there where when you watch them by themselves, you have to wait another week for the episode. It's not as exciting. You're like, what was that? I kind of wanted a little more. And, that's with every TV show, though. I mean, that's the simple fact of the matter. But you do have some seasons of The Walking Dead, like, in my opinion, season 1, I think each episode was strong. And season 3, you had a lot of strong episodes as well, where I feel like you can watch them each week and be like, whoa, that was amazing. And with Fear the Walking Dead, I felt like it was more of an arc, that when you watch the episodes, which I've done, back to back, all at once, it really connects, and it really creates a really nice story. And I was impressed with it. I really was. But, I hope that next season they focus a little bit more on trying to make each episode in some way stand out, because I feel like the pilot was overall good, but I feel like they didn't focus enough on the chaos that was going on around them. And I think they focused too much on Nick. And in the end, I just think that it wasn't a good idea in retrospect. But again, you watch it back to back, I think it's great. The look of the walkers, I give that a pro. I really enjoy that human quality with the walkers that you don't see anymore on The Walking Dead. You see these people as, they call them the infected, because, they really do look like people that are just infected with some kind of disease that makes them, walk around like a zombie. And I think that it's hard to make that distinction. You see those challenges, like with Travis, who couldn't shoot the one walker. You see how people respond to that. And, I think that it's a lot harder to kill a walker. And I did enjoy that. I did enjoy the fact that when they had to kill the principal as a walker, it wasn't as simple as you see in The Walking Dead, where, you literally just smack the thing upside the head with a bat anymore and the whole brain goes flying. Whereas now, these are fresher walkers. These are ones that, we haven't decomposed yet. So you really have to give it, a big whack in order to, crush the brain or to crush the skull or stab it. I mean, you saw what happened with Tobias and the principal. And I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the way that the walkers looked this season. I think that was really important to portray the walkers in a different way. I think they succeeded on that. Another thing I really enjoyed was the ethical dilemmas that the individuals faced. And I really think that that's important, because one thing you don't want to necessarily do is copy Walking Dead. And I don't think they've done that, which is something that I really, really like overall. This is not a clone of The Walking Dead. It really is its own show, and you saw, different morals and different ethical dilemmas that you don't see on, like, The Walking Dead. Here, you have, as a zombie apocalypse kind of show, it's right at the beginning. It's right when things are starting to, fall apart. And what I really liked was seeing that different perspective of the characters. Like Madison debating whether she should kill the walker that was the neighbor. Should she do that? Should she put her down? And, you have Travis saying, well, no, she just might be sick. Everything might be okay. Would you want me to do that to you? And you have that dilemma. And I can understand why that would happen to you at the beginning, because you don't know the whole story. There may be a cure out there. They may not really be dead. It's easier to, figure that out 2 years down the road and the things are, falling apart at the, all the skin's coming off and everything. But right at the beginning, like with Herschel, actually seeing them as people that were sick, I liked how they did that and how they had more of an actual focus on that with the characters rather than just shutting them in a barn and talking about the concept. We saw it acted out, and I really enjoyed that. And again, the whole ethical dilemma with torturing Adams. I mean, that's something different. As far as I remember, other than when they beat up Randall, a couple of other things, we've never really seen a torture on the show. Somebody actually getting, cut or, waterboarded or whatever you may say. As far as I can remember back, and I may be forgetting something, but I really don't think I am, we really haven't dealt with torture. And I think that it was a very, very new and different idea that I think was very, very, very interesting. And I really enjoyed it. So I think that they really took different kinds of ethical dilemmas that I think would apply to this point and really ran with them and really did a good job. So those are the things that I really did enjoy overall. Things I thought they could have done a little more better. I really felt like they should have did a little bit more of a focus on things falling around. Falling apart around them. One of the things that I didn't really like was we were constantly in that neighborhood. Constantly shut in, constantly focusing on the things that were going on there. And I thought to myself, well, how do we really know what's going on here? Yeah, we got a little glimpse of the riots in downtown LA with Travis and them, but they were mostly shut up inside the barbershop anyways. I would have really liked to have seen more incidents of individuals, who were, caving into the world around them. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of, maybe a couple walkers getting shot by police or by individuals. Maybe a little bit more, walker action in the episodes. And I think it would have been nice if they would have ran into somebody right near, the first 3 episodes that was a threat to them. Kind of like Tobias, but worse, like some bandit who, might break into their house and, take things from them or might want to do some harm to Alicia. Something like that that would really reaffirm for some of these characters the idea that the world is definitely falling apart. And I think that we should have gotten a little bit more insight into that. We were really shielded from that, I think. And I think that that was one reason why some people lost interest in the show, was because we didn't really get to see anything that we didn't already know. And I think it would have been nice to see that directly. I think it would have been nice to see, more soldiers that were walking down the street shooting walkers, and then somebody runs out, hey, help me, and they would have shot them. Not nice, meaning, but you get my point. It would have been more, interesting for the plot, and I think that's something that we wanted to see, and they didn't provide that as much. So I do fault them a little bit on that, and I really hope with season 2 we get more of a look at the terrible things that are going on. That we see that there are, bandits, bad people out there. That we see that there's a numerous amount of walkers. Things like that, I really want to see that. So that's one. And honestly, I think they could have accomplished this if they would have done a few more episodes. I think that 6 episodes for some purposes was good, but again, I think that they really would have benefited a little more if they would have had a little more action in the plot. If there would have been, like them being trapped downtown for a while. I think that would have been a better idea. I think if there would have been more of a chance for them to be downtown, trapped, fight their way through, and get back to their home, I think that would have been more interesting. I think it would have, again, emphasized more of an action perspective that we really wanted to see. And again, I think that just shutting them inside that neighborhood was really boring and really did not lend to the plot all that much. And I really would have preferred that they spent less time in that neighborhood and more time out there actually experiencing things. And I think that the neighborhood storyline was a good idea, just I think they overplayed it. And I think that that was something that I would have liked to have seen different. Another thing I think that they did was I think they overplayed Nick's drug addiction storyline. I think after a while it just got too repetitive. I mean, Frank Delane is an excellent actor. I really enjoy Nick's character, and I want to see him go on to do great things. I really, really do. And I think he will. But I think they focused way too much on his addiction. I mean, there were just some parts where that story was used as filler, especially in the 2nd episode. And I just think that, by the time you got to that point, you were just like, we get it. Okay, we get it. Let's just focus on something else. It would have been nice if they wouldn't have focused too much on that. But that is part of Nick's character, so I do understand. But after a while, it was getting old. But again, I think overall it was a great season. When you watch the episodes back to back, I think it makes a great story, great characters. I think they really ended it very, very well. Very, very, cliffhanger. What's going to happen? What are Travis and Madison going to be like? What will the kids be like as they're growing up in this world? Who is Strand, and what in the world, is he going to do with this group? And then, of course, Daniel and Ophelia. How do they fit in with the mix, and with each other? How will Ophelia and Daniel feel about each other going down the road now that they've lost, Griselda, and now that Ophelia knows the true nature of her father? Will that make an impact? Lots of questions. I can't wait to do a little more analysis. I will do a few more videos on Fear the Walking Dead before I stop for the season until it comes back. So stay tuned for those. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. If you guys have any suggestions for any other kind of video that you would like to see, please do not be afraid to suggest it. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thank you very much for watching.